And I know how heavy a burden we have to carry because negativity always finds itself within us and take root. And so
what was your job, if you don't mind me asking?
My job?
Yeah, what job did you get when you got out? Or what way did you get to the money as far as, let me make a little money?
I started driving trucks.
Okay, so yeah, what you were asking for them to put in there,
yeah,
you got to it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I formed my own organization to help guys and men and women, get out of prison or help them when they return back to society.
Much needed. Are you still doing that now to this day? Or?
Oh yes, that's my drive. That's my passion. That's my love.
So needed, man. It's crazy. Some people only doing 3 to 5 years, but there are people getting out that's done the kind of time, if not more, than that you did. And the world changes so quick, man. I don't think people understand. Like, you be gone 2 years, and it's like, oh, this changed or that changed, and man, it's a thing. Now, one thing I will say, T-Winn, is that even from the first time you came in, since the first time I met you, it's always been a pleasure because no matter what, out of everyone that I have in my circle, in my life and everything of that nature, the fact that I met you and the fact that every day I get a daily affirmation from you as far as just something to give and I read every single one of them I read, even if I don't respond. I read each one of them. Some will apply to me right then and there in that moment, in that mindset. Some may apply to me the next day or another different time, but it's so important to have that mindset. What was it for you even to do that? Like for you to be like, at the time I'm a stranger, but yet you have the wherewithal to say, let me send him and send others, just daily affirmations. That means you're affirming yourself first, and then you're putting out to the world. What is that about? Because some people like to kind of, misery loves company type of way and just, be mad at everybody. But you kind of have a flip script on that. What is that, and what gave you that?
I think just being in prison and if you look at me, I'm a guy that I smile a lot.
You smile a lot. Last interview, you smiled the whole interview. I remember we talked about afterward. You're like, man, I think I smiled through the whole thing. I'm like, hey, man. I'm like, the fact that you smile, I love it. I respect it. But go ahead.
Yeah, and see, I got it's a genuineness because I'm a smile and I'm a laugh, and so that means that I don't see the bad in things. I always try to see. I'm an optimistic person, so I always try to see the good. And I know how heavy a burden we have to carry because negativity always finds itself within us and take root. So with me, I want to offset it by just giving you something positive because we don't get it. And then coming back into society, it's like you don't see people speak to each other. You don't see people greet one another just in positiveness. So I want to do it differently. I want people to be thankful. I want people to have something positive to say. It's like today, I walked down to Popeyes and they had a homeless guy come in. I hadn't already ordered, so I'm sitting down and I'm sitting in the back and I'm like on my phone. And what made me know who he was, because he talked loud. So I looked, he was talking loud, he was like, but he had a good spirit. And he was like, hey man, I want a piece of chicken. He said, I just got enough for one leg. And so the woman brought me, had my cup for my drink. So I walked up there. He said, man, think I can get a drink with it? But he didn't have enough. So I walked over, I said, man, how much you short? He said, man, probably about 50 cents. So I gave him $1. So he was able to get his drink. And so I went back and sat down. And there was a woman, she had been sitting down too. She had got her food before me. So she saw what I did. So she asked him, man, you want some sides with that? He said, huh? She said, you want some sides with that? And you could see he wasn't really used to people doing good. So he said, you serious? So she said, yeah, what you want? He said, he told her what he wanted. So she said, I'm finna go get it. So he stood up. She said, sit down, I got him, go and get it. So she brought him the size he wanted, and then she left.
Wow.
And so I'm like, I said, man, you want some more chicken? He said, nah, man, I just ate. I said, no, man, you can eat this other box of chicken tomorrow, later on at night. He said, bro, it ain't never been open? I said, no. He said, man, you serious? I said, yeah, man. So he came and got it. And so at the end, you know, he was a dude that you could see, he kind of came with something because he was like, man, thank you, man.
Yeah.
And then when he was humble, and he was, you know, some people you'll give stuff to them. Yeah. And so and then he said it again. He's like, brother, thank you, man. And so I came back here. That made me feel good. So I went across the street to 7-Eleven. And they had another homeless dude sitting out. So I said, bro, you want something out the store? So he said, man. He said, bro, I'm sorry, bro. He said, I smoke. I said, you want something out the store? He said, man, can I get a pack of cigarettes? So I looked at him, I said, come on. And so, you know, I got him a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah.
And I just felt good just to be able to help somebody.
Just to be able to help somebody, man. Paying it forward, man.
Yeah.
They don't know your walk. They don't know your story.
Don't know my story.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's so important because you don't know what that act right there might have catapulted him to go off and, you know, we'll see where they land in life, but you might have sparked something in them. So thank you, I would say, man, for having that mentality, having that word, man. You know, as we do these prison stories, you know, we don't do it to glorify the stories. We just do it pretty much to educate. I want to kind of have you leave off with, again, because you went at such a young age, if the young Carmelo Anthony could hear this interview and watch this, what words would you have for him? Even though now that he has to face this, he has to look at this he has to look at this. What words do you have for him to possibly do his time, get through his sentence, or anyone that's out there that's battling what Carmelo's battling himself as well?
You know, a lot of times, you know, we hear the older people say, man, put God in your life. And, you know, we live our lives out here in society. We live it. We live it forward every single day. And a lot of times we forget the power of prayers, and we forget that God does exist and God does bless us. So to say something to young Carmelo and to say something to future guys that's going to prison, man, you're gonna have to hit your knees, but you gotta hit it with a sincerity. And you gotta hit it with not just to pray, but to change. Because, you know, it's like works without, what it is, prayer without works is fruitless.
Yeah.
So you gotta pray to change yourself, to change your ways, to change your way of thinking. Because you ain't gonna never get out that cage you're in. Whether it's the cage of the physical cage or the mental cage, you ain't gonna get out of it unless you change the way you think. And that's was one of the biggest programs that I took in prison was thinking for a change. Because before, man, I wasn't thinking at first. I just was regurgitating my own actions. But man, when you think for a change, you're gonna change the way you are. And Carmelo, you come from greats. I mean, you come from good stock, and you was poised to be something in life, and you can still be something in life because you're gonna get your time back. But man, just work on making better decisions so that you don't put yourself in no situations that's gonna ever threaten your freedom again. And that's for everybody. It's all about putting yourself in the best situation. So that means if you got friends that's living in a certain way that's a detriment to your freedom, man, you got to change those friends, because a friend ain't gonna put a friend in harm's way. And you got to understand how to get out your own way. And getting out your own way, if it means changing your friends or changing your location, man, do it. Because you gotta always remember, man, that your life matter. You can't put everybody's life before yours. Put your life before yourself. I mean, put your life somewhere in that priority list, because what affects you affects your family. And always remember that. You're gonna see those tears run down their face because they can't bring you home with them. So you got to know that all the decisions, the tough decisions, you got to make them so that you can stay free. But man, make positive changes, do positive things, and don't give in to the negativities that's gonna come your way. That prison, that evolves and revolves around prison. Stay clear of all that negative stuff and just stay positive, man. You're gonna make it.
Yeah, man, that's coming from a person who had a life sentence and is here today even to give that message. So with that being said, now put God first. I appreciate you having such wise words. I hope somebody takes heed, and I hope it reaches the necessary people it needs to reach. With that being said, T-Winn, this is Prison Stories 101. I appreciate you. I salute you, man. Let's go.
Thank you.